Thank you all for being here at Charles R. Drew University School of Medicine and Science. My name is Dr. Delia Santana, and I am the acting dean for the nursing school here at Charles Drew University. We're happy to have you here. Today, we're here because we would like to demonstrate what our students, faculty, and staff do in the event of an emergency. We will have them evacuate and go to the flagpole and demonstrate that we are ready for an emergency when it happens. And so we're happy to have you here from the city, state, and federal level and the media here on our campus in the Compton-Watts area. CDU's commitment to the health of the community also does include earthquake preparedness. Internally, this means participating today in the Great California ShakeOut as an opportunity to practice emergency responses to earthquakes and other emergencies. It means utilizing our resources for simulations, drills, training to prepare future health professionals who will be in these communities when such a crisis occurs. Externally, our commitment means providing our campus to the California Governor's Office of Emergency Services to hold or host this event. Today, we serve as a vehicle for getting the simple message out to our communities, to be ready, to have a plan, to have their earthquake kits and supplies, to drop, cover, and hold on. Our university started right here in the Willowbrook area over 55 years ago in the aftermath of the Watts Uprising in response to the lack of healthcare resources in South LA. And so our participation today speaks to the CDU mission as a student-centered university committed to preparing diverse health professional leaders dedicated to social justice and health equity for underserved populations. And we remain committed to that goal and look forward to leveraging the teaching and learning opportunity this ShakeOut represents today. So our students, we have medical students, we have nursing students, radiology technicians, and physician assistants. They're participating in several mass casualty simulations today. And we'll watch students drop, cover, and hold on, followed by the evacuation. We would like to remind the community to be prepared for the next earthquake. Make your emergency preparedness kits and be ready. Again, thank you to you, our friends and partners of the California Office of Emergency Services, for this opportunity to train and share our commitment to earthquake preparedness for our CDU community and to those around us. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning. My name is Tina Curry, and I'm Chief Deputy Director at the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. First, I want to thank and recognize Dr. Santana and Charles Drew University for hosting this event for the community and for the public here today. We are truly grateful for your partnership. Here in California, we faced a lot. We have wildfires that are increasingly destructive. We are entering another year of drought. Of course, the ongoing global pandemic, the list goes on. These events all have cascading impacts that exacerbate challenges that communities are already facing and difficulties that people and families already have. And today we're here to talk about earthquake preparedness. As we've seen before, a large magnitude earthquake here in California has and will cause a lot of damage, disrupt key systems and services, and have lasting impacts for many Californians. Though we don't know when an earthquake will strike, we have learned a lot about them. So each day brings an opportunity to know more and to do more, to be prepared. And that's why we're here today, and why ShakeOut is so important. It's more than a reminder that earthquakes can happen anytime, but that we are empowered to be ready for them and to take steps to keep ourselves and keep our families safe. I don't have to remind those of you here in Los Angeles about earthquake risk. Just a month ago, you had a shake in about 4.3 magnitude near Carson. It was felt all throughout the Los Angeles region. Today, we continue our annual tradition to practice drop, cover, and hold on. Drop, cover, and hold on is a simple set of steps, something we should all practice so that it's etched in our memory and our reaction is automatic when the ground shakes. The Great Shakeout was an idea back in 2008 that was actually born right here in Southern California. This has grown to be a regular event each October, not just for the millions of Californians that participate, but all across the nation and now the world. And today we ask all of you at 10:21 a.m. to practice drop, cover, and hold on wherever you are, at school, at work, or at home. We're also excited to highlight another tool in our toolbox for earthquake preparedness. We now have the ability to detect earthquakes in advance of the earthquake shaking, providing precious seconds to take that protective action. Today, I encourage all Californians with a smartphone to go to the App Store, go to the Google Play Store, and download the MyShake app. The app is free, and it's available in both English and in Spanish. You can also visit earthquake.ca.gov to learn more about earthquake warnings and earthquake preparedness. earthquake.ca.gov. The MyShake app takes that early detection signal, something you may have heard of as called a shake alert, and it passes it through the cell phone and notifies anyone within the area that may feel strong shaking. In fact, over 25,000 people right here in Los Angeles received a MyShake alert following or at the time of that Carson quake that I mentioned before. So far, over 1.5 million subscribers have already downloaded MyShake, and today on ShakeOut Day, we want millions more to do the same. Please take this important step and join them by downloading this free service. Emergency and earthquake preparedness is something all of us as Californians have a part of, and is possible through important partnerships by many. Today, I'm joined by some of those whose tireless effort and dedication keep us prepared and keep us safe. Charles Drew University, Los Angeles County, the California Geological Survey, Assemblyman Rodriguez, and the list goes on. And today, the most important partner in earthquake preparedness is all of you. Take action today to be safe, to be informed, and to be prepared. Thank you. And next, I'd like to introduce the Director of Emergency Management for the County of Los Angeles, Kevin McGowan.
Good morning. Thank you, Tina, for the introduction. My name is Kevin McGowan. I'm the Director for Los Angeles County's Office of Emergency Management. On behalf of the county, I'd like to express our thanks to Team Charles Drew University and also to Cal OES for this wonderful event. Responding to and recovering from disasters, major earthquakes being one of them, in Los Angeles County always takes our whole community. We've seen this whole community come to action on so many different occasions throughout the COVID-19 response and many of the other emergencies that we've been facing over the last couple years. A major earthquake will be no different, and it's going to require an all-hands-on-deck from our entire community to help navigate that issue. A few items. I'm a big believer in arming our community to be able to respond to and recover from these types of disasters and really empower everyone to be effective. So a couple of things we can do at the community-based level is go to readylacounty.gov. That's readylacounty.gov, and access all the information you're going to need to be prepared and be more resilient. A couple of these items include having a disaster preparedness plan for you, your family, friends, and loved ones. Also institutions such as Charles Drew University, nonprofit organizations. We have a whole litany of information available for businesses and how all of us can come together and be a little bit more prepared. A couple other important things. Communication is going to be heavily impacted when a major disaster like an earthquake occurs in the greater Los Angeles County region. And so I really implore everyone to think about what life without a cell phone would be like in the 21st century. We have the ease of communication now, and it gets a lot of things done quickly. Those types of things might not be available for us. So relying on known community partners is going to be a really critical way to not only get life-saving support, but also critical information for us to be able to navigate through those early days and weeks after a major disaster. And so I will ask our community to do one thing before I hand it over to our partners at the California Geological Survey, and it's to think about earthquakes not just today during the ShakeOut, even though it's a great event, but to think about this often, because in Southern California and especially Los Angeles County, we're we're surrounded by risk, and a major disaster is always just a day away from us. So it's very important for us to really embody the principles of today, not just on one day a year, but throughout our days every day. So with that, I would like to hand it over to Brian.
Good morning. My name is Brian Olson, and I'm an engineering geologist with the California Geological Survey in the Southern California Regional Office based in Los Angeles. The California Geological Survey and the Department of Conservation are proud to partner with Cal OES to help prepare communities for future earthquakes in California. The CGS is committed to the science of hazard mitigation with respect to earthquakes and to community preparedness through the ShakeOut exercise. Our earthquake programs range from identifying hazards to helping improve community resilience to contributing to the earthquake early warning system. And I would like to thank, again, Cal OES and Drew University for including us today.
Do we have any questions from reporters?
What can we expect? Can you just take us through the full scope and reach of the Great California Shakeout? Because from what I understand, 26 million people are involved. It's an international thing. We're all connected. What happened in Japan created a tsunami here. Can you just talk about the international reach?
Yes, thank you for the question. You're absolutely correct. It is something that millions of Californians are participating in. A lot of our schools and communities throughout the state are doing this on the same time on the same day. But absolutely, it has reached international levels all across the world. In some way, there's a recognition of ShakeOut and the importance of well, Kevin's absolutely right. It's something preparedness should be on our minds every day. It is a reminder, where we're really just stopping and becoming aware and thinking about those simple steps it does to be earthquake prepared, and it does resonate really with everyone, and is why I believe that something that took off here is something that has been replicated across the country. There's also been many earthquakes around the world. We hear about them every day. They're devastating. This threat knows no boundaries, and so again, ShakeOut is a step that any person, any member of the public can take to keep themselves safe, no matter where they are. So we're really pleased to see that it's a shared commitment across the world.
And one more question, if no one else has one, is Dr. Santana, can you talk about what it would be like if you expect a mass casualty event? What happens? The event transpires, and then what do you expect to happen from there? And how do you prepare?
So thank you for that great question. And I just would like to remind everyone that first we need to be prepared at home. Right here where we are right now, in the event that an earthquake happens, we need to be sure that our families are safe so we can be personally here and present to help those in danger here on campus. So what would happen is in the event of an emergency on campus, we would definitely do the drop, cover, and hold, and knowing that our structures are prepared, secured, and all of that, so we try to mitigate as much as possible any casualties within our class settings. We do have students in classrooms all the time, so what we would do is after the shaking stops, we would have our evacuation, as we have our evacuation routes posted, and the students, faculty, and staff would leave based on their evacuation routes. They would come around, for example, from that building, the LSRNE building, walk on the sidewalk area, the concrete area, avoiding the grassy area because of the electrical light and wires, and then they would walk around this area and proceed to the light posts there. And then after we have accountability, we would look for our casualties, as you will see on campus as we take a walk through. So thank you for that question.
Since we still have a few more minutes before 10:21 and we continue on with the exercise, I'll try and continue like a dialogue conversation. For Tina Curry with Cal OES, I know you touched on the MyShake app. Can you go a little more detail into that, why it's important, and why even a few seconds matter if you have that on your phone?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the MyShake app is but one way of what we hope are many ways that earthquake warnings can be delivered. It starts with a sensor network. It's all over California. Partners such as a USGS, Caltech down here in Southern California, UC Berkeley up in Northern California have been working on improving and making this technology a reality to detect earthquake shaking. So there's a wave that emerges from an earthquake before the shaking actually starts, and the technology harnesses that information, if you will, and that energy, and is able to communicate that. It has to happen at lightning speed, as you would imagine, which is really what all the refinement has been going into the system to make it possible to deliver to all of you. So that signal transfers into the cell phone. It is maybe just a few seconds, but if you think about it, when we actually do the drill in a few minutes, if you had 5 seconds of notice to stop and think about, you get a warning, drop cover and hold on. It is a long time, a lot more than we ever had, to take that action to protect yourself. So even a few seconds is really powerful and can make a big difference in your safety. And we hope that the technology gets better and improves and gets faster over time, so that we even have more warning. And think about all that we can do to automate technology, stop trains, stop elevators, manufacturing lines, you know, all these things that not only can protect people and save lives, but also kind of start to minimize some of that disruption that we have come to expect with earthquakes. The MyShake and the Shake Alert technology is also in the wireless emergency alert system, so something that you're used to for weather events, for other types of warning. It is also transmitting that earthquake alert through that system. Google has made it a feature in all of the Android phones, and many other local-based applications are also developing to use this technology. We want everyone to have access to these warnings, have them easy to be accessed, and see more and more of this technology kind of embedded into our infrastructure, so that, you know, again, we have one more tool that we didn't have before to be earthquake safe. I hope that helps, Brian.
Thank you. Still a couple of minutes before we hit the drill. Kevin, you touched on what your residents in LA County can do to prepare themselves. Can you go more in detail? You kind of described we may not have cell phones if there's an earthquake. You need to know where you're going to meet your family if you're not all together, and just that planning and coordination and how important that is on a family level.
Yeah, so at the family level, there's a couple of key things that we try to communicate over and over for that redundancy factor. Having a kit. So earthquakes don't always happen when you're at home. So having a preparedness kit with you where you work, when you drive, is always important. That way you have access to different resources that you might initially need. A couple of the key ones are always like the food and water, but pharmaceuticals, if you're on prescription medicine, you might want to keep extra prescription medicine with you at your workplace or in your vehicle so that you'll have access to those types of things. Communication's always an interesting one. We rely so heavily on our cell phones, but the radio system is a really resilient piece of infrastructure. So having those go-to radio frequent or radio in your car, at home having a National Weather Service radio, those are different items that are beneficial not just for earthquake, but for a variety of the different disasters we face. And then I think the most important thing people can really put a lot of time and energy into that brings value is having that family preparedness plan. So if your children are at school and you're at work and a disaster happens, how are you going to meet up with your children? How are you going to ensure that they're safe? And what network do you have in place so that when you don't have access to your cell phone, you still have that information? So, you know, going back to the way we used to keep phone numbers in a notebook, something that doesn't need battery power is always a key one. But really working that issue specifically to your family, because these are very individual and family issues, And so making sure you have those solutions in place before the emergency happens is always a benefit.
Less than a minute or so away, a reminder that our students sitting at the tables will practice drop, cover, and hold on as we now wait for the alarms and the 1021 shakeout alert. And then afterwards, Dr. Santana, you can kind of describe what we're seeing as your students begin to exercise and evacuate buildings. So if we can have the students drop, cover, and hold on at this time.
So currently, we have our students demonstrating the drop, cover, and hold on in response to the shaking, simulated shaking exercise. And they will hold this position until the shaking stops. After which we expect the evacuation exercise to occur. So we think the shaking has stopped. So if everyone would start evacuating and moving to the flagpoles, avoiding the grassy area, as that is considered a danger zone due to dropped wires and other hazards around. We're expecting that folks will avoid any fallen objects on the grounds. To my left, we see students evacuating from the LSRNE building, and they're correctly following the evacuation route. And they will continue to move around the Cobb building behind me.
Dr. Santana, can you talk again why it's so important for you to practice this drill every year?
So because, thank you for that question. Because we know that we are very susceptible to earthquakes and other emergencies, it is imperative that we do practice this drill on an annual basis. We do practice this drill on October 21st every year so that our students are prepared in the event of an earthquake or when an earthquake occurs. We can quickly practice the drop, cover, and hold on, and then we can quickly evacuate so that we want to avoid any casualties and keep as much as possible our campus safe, and also observe for any individuals who need our help during this process. So we will be continuing this practice as we move forward in partnership with our local departments and also California Cal OES. So thank you.
Shoulder mount if you want.
So what we're demonstrating here is the mass evacuation and also some responses to an emergency or earthquake, so that you will have individuals who are hurt and out of control. And this is important because knowing that this will happen is a way of our students getting prepared and being able to respond to these kinds of situations. So we are having a very realistic exercise where we would have to know how to respond to individuals who are having different kinds of reactions to this event.
As a reminder to those of you who are watching online, we are experiencing an earthquake drill here at Charles Drew University. The reaction behind us is their students practicing not only what they would do to evacuate the building, but then the medical response, teaching their students how to respond to mass casualties. This is an exercise, a drill that is happening here on the Charles Drew campus in Los Angeles. And also a reminder, go to MyShake to download the free app, the Shake Alert app, and remember to have that plan. Thank you all for participating in the great ShakeOut 2021. This concludes our broadcast. Thank you.